Hey, we're live. Welcome to day one. Welcome to day one or of the Financial Freedom with God challenge. It's 3 days. I know. I find myself saying it really slow because I feel like even that kind of freaks people out. So I've been hearing feedback where people are like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I don't know if I need it, or I think I'm just overwhelmed because the whole topic overwhelms me. So let me know if that is you in there. If the whole topic overwhelms you. Um, which if that's the case, that's totally cool. Um, oh, and we got Maverick behind the scene. So, Maverick, do you have the slides that I sent? If you don't, that's okay. But if you do, if you wanted to put the first one up with me, that would be super cool. If you don't have it, that's okay. Because I don't know about you guys, but it has been a busy, crazy, wild day getting ready. So I wanted to just first of all invite you guys. And if you didn't hear, because I've heard some people, they didn't realize they were supposed to click on something. If you still, I think, Maverick, if we can put the link in here so that anybody, if you got in here, but you were like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize there was like a additional VIP experience. If you guys, or if this is the first time you're hearing about it and you're like, what? I didn't know there was. So this part is free. It's going to be for 30 minutes. And then we're going to move over to Zoom and we're going to take a deeper dive with everything. So, Maverick, do you have any of the slides? If you don't, I'm just going to kind of roll with it. Okay, I'm going to assume that. So the first thing I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of detail about. Oh, he's downloading them. Okay, so I figured you may know me. You might have been invited by somebody else, but I just wanted to share a little bit about all the replays. 30 minutes will be in here, and okay, I think he's bringing it up. Okay. I'm not quite sure. Okay. What happened? Okay. This is the group right here. Um, and this is today's event. I'm not sure how I got over there, but okay, I'm coming back over here. I don't know what happened. Something just popped up. I think it was the event. Um, Sorry about that. But what I wanted to let you guys all know is if you didn't see the message from me, I went live and I challenged you all to go live and introduce yourself. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. So if you didn't already go live, that's okay. Your homework is to go live. And I want to make sure that I will see it in there. And I'm just saying, those of you guys that do these things, I'm probably going to have a little drawing at the end because the day we end is my birthday and I love giving gifts. So I'm probably going to do something fun. As you can see, I even have gifts back there. Any of you guys that join Campfire Fridays, if you join any of the things that I do, you'll know that I love to give gifts. So, okay, am I supposed to bring this on? I think there we go. Okay. All right, so this is our financial freedom with God. So, welcome to Financial Freedom with God. And it's okay. I can hear the nervousness as you guys even think this. I just want to tell you, I have been in the financial industry for 27 years. I started out in the banking side, and so I really learned the money management side of it. When you look at bank accounts over and over and over again, you start to see the themes when people are constantly either overdrawn or they don't have money in any savings accounts when you ask all these questions. And there's normally some reasons behind it, but that's not the only step that we're going to talk about. But what I find is that everyone, I'm just going to tell you a little secret. I have helped people from overdrawn, zero money to millionaires. Okay. No matter where they're at, there's this lie that you're not there, you're not doing enough, you're not saving enough. I'm going to tell you, I have people that were like, oh my gosh, we are on track, we are doing amazing. I'm like, wow. And even then they feel like there's this thing that is not of God, that there's this little lie that brings shame, that brings embarrassment, that brings all of those things. So okay, can I, how do I move to the next one? There we go. Oh, so this is what we're talking about. Would you like to achieve financial freedom with God? It's hosted by me, Jodi Gambini. A lot of people have always called me their money coach, or their coach for their money. And it's because I have been a full service financial advisor, financial planner, insurance planner. I've helped people start businesses, expand businesses with all the financial planning and things. But everybody is normally like, oh my gosh, you are like a coach for my money, because of a lot of the things that God helped show me and customize as I started working with people. And I started noticing these themes that no matter where they were at on the scale, there was always this shame that was around things. So I just want you to know that, would you like to achieve some financial freedom with God? I'm going to give you, it's hosted by me, and I'm going to do is we're going to learn 7 steps. This is a roadmap though. So it's not going to be, this is going to get you going. And I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. But if you start to go, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm just getting started, we're got something special that we're going to announce on Wednesday, and a little bonus for Thursday. So already I have some things up my sleeve to just treat you guys. But that is what is going on here, is that we are going to work towards it. And so I wanted to just kind of go over a couple of things here. All right. Can we move? Can you move to the next slide? Yeah, so the roadmap, these were in our thing, but I wanted to just go over them. So I know I've had a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, what's going to be going on? And so the order of these steps, so it's a roadmap. And I've had people say that, they've done Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, a lot of different things. And they're really great with some certain things, and especially those two are really around kind of the money management side and the cash flow. But when I say these 7 steps, I want you to know that when you're going to look at some of them, you're going to go, oh, I actually did know that. And it really is about just bringing everything in alignment so that you know where to start. So a lot of times I see people starting down on step 5, step 6, step 7. Okay. So you know where to start, and that you can follow them. And it's a new adventure with fresh hope and excitement to move forward in your financial freedom. So that's what I want you to get. It's hopeful. And that we're going to break through whatever these little things are. So, okay, let's go to the next slide. All right. So I wanted to just share this part here because I have to say I'm not always really great about that, and it's actually almost 28 years. In January it'll be 28 years that I was in the financial industry. I started out in at new bank accounts. I moved my way up to a manager and was promoted to an AVP, branch manager, which is considered an assistant vice president. And then I moved up from that, and then I actually ended up stepping in to wealth management for the bank, and I helped all kind of the high level clients. And then I was offered by the bank, they were going to pay for me for my Series 7 stockbroker's license and my 66 investment license. They had already paid for my life insurance license. So I said yes. And that was in 2005. And so there was a shift in new seasons, and I moved over as a financial planner, a money coach, and an investment advisor. So I definitely, I picked the investments. I gave a lot of advice around the investments. I've retired from that side of it. So I no longer, I have an amazing person. If you need somebody recommended that is Christ centered, I have always made it my mission to find people that are very trustworthy and good. And so I do um, have one of those. I might bring him on another challenge. Um, but we founded Connecting the Dots in 2019. I retired in April 2021, I believe, was it? 22, 22. So I started the Connecting the Dots just as a way to be able to bring some tangible coaching and things to people that I couldn't necessarily bring sometimes in the financial planning, because a lot of times people were just starting out or they had a lot of questions that I didn't have a financial plan they could purchase, because that's how it worked. And people would purchase plans for a couple $1,000s, but I was held responsible to bring those things back to them. And so financial planning is not for the rich and famous. It's really for anybody. And it's really just a roadmap. And that you start to follow and look at. And so I also use my prophetic voice. So I partner with the Holy Spirit, and that's where some of these things have come from. And my business is really around helping kingdom people kick fear in the face, is my slogan, and break through to the next level of purpose and dreams. And so I've been doing different things around that, but this is my first time doing an actual where I am sharing around the financial, where I wasn't just a guest speaker. And because my heart is to help kick any of these things that you have, mindsets you might have in the face. Um and so I married my husband. We've actually been married now 21 years. We live in Stockton, California. And yes, we have a little mini fruit orchard, and we have five fur babies. We have three inside. Pretty much, we are like a little a dog. They all find us. We live not very far, where it seems like a lot of people drop animals. So two of ours were a brother and sister that were abandoned, and we adopted them. The other one, she showed up here on actual Halloween. We call her Pumpkin. And then there's another two sisters that showed up down here when they were about 6 months old, and they've never left. And they do a great job of getting all kinds of critters, mice, all of it. And so we have one actually right next door right now, and she's taking up one of my entire bathrooms because she got a foxtail in her eye. So, side note, but that is a little bit about me and life. And my heart is just to, when I asked God, I was hosting something about your God superhero, and I was like, God, what's my superhero name? And He said Joy Fearless. So I love to bring joy, because joy is our portion, but we have to push through being fearless. And so that's a little about me. Do we want to go to the next slide? So here's what we're going to cover. And if you didn't get the memo, because we are doing this October 16th, 17th, and 18th, 2 p.m. Pacific. That's my time frame. I live here in Stockton, California, if I didn't tell you. And but it is 4 p.m. Central and 5 p.m. Eastern. All these recordings will be in here. And if you join the VIP, we will have recordings for you of those too. So if you want to join VIP experience and you can't be on the Zoom, that is okay. We will we will have you join at a later date, so where you can watch at a later date. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide so we can share what is gonna happen. Okay, so what I wanted to make really clear is we didn't put numbers with this because we actually promoted this in but the order that I'm teaching this in, it's important. Here's the main reason. So there's two important factors, because I said we're going to do this with God. I want you to be asking him. You're going to notice every single step, it's ask him what he's saying. What is he saying? How to do it? What to do? But we're going to go over all of these at kind of a higher level. I am going to take a deeper dive over on Zoom, but we're going to do what I call laying the spending plan foundation. Okay. 90-day money plan. Build your time map, uncover your money mindset. So building a time map is something the Lord gave me while I was building my financial practice. And I first learned how to do spending plans. I was my first client. And then he started showing me that I needed to do time mapping and for my own time budget, basically, and start to make things intentional. So that's a little bit of a snapshot. That will be tomorrow. So tomorrow we will be discussing building your time map and uncovering your money mindset. Your money mindset is really, a lot of times you're going to notice, even when I say money, you'll either feel like really confident about some things, and then there's something else where you probably just say, that's just not my thing. I'm not comfortable with it. Every time I've ever sat down with anybody, there's always parts where people are really comfortable, and then they'll just go, yeah, I just don't think that's my thing. I just don't want to know it. And there's some reasons behind that are not what I believe what the Lord wants for you to thrive. Sometimes there's thoughts that are sneaky that we don't realize are not the portion of what the Lord is saying for us. And then I'm gonna teach you something this is how the Lord taught me to be able to help my clients understand it. Because one of the biggest things that I was really known for, on top of being a coach, many people call me a coach for their money. But the other one was that I was a great translator, that I would translate financially needs, investment needs, all of those things into English. So one of the ways that God gave me to be able to do that, because I'd start to sit down with people and I'd be like, what is okay? They would train you in all these things, right? Well, it did not work in real life because I would constantly have people just look at me like this. And I really felt that if I'm here to help people, it's not just to take their money and invest their money. It's not just to get their 401k transferred over to an IRA. It wasn't just to set up people with whatever they thought they needed, a college plan for their kids, or to set up a retirement fund for their business, or whatever it was. There's a lot of people out there that's what they do in more as a financial advisor. But the company I worked for was really big on financial planning, and they did really help you with having a conversation and a talk with people. And so I don't think I realized how much God spoke to me back then. This was like 2007. when I started. And by the way, I launched my practice right within a year of when, if any of you guys remember 2008 and the big crash of a whole lot of stuff, banks closing, mortgage companies closing, tons of homes like foreclosed on. It was like a foreclosure area around here. I live in Stockton, which is like a bedroom community for like San Francisco and all of the Bay Area, Oakland, Berkeley, all of that. And so it was like a ghost town. It was crazy. All the things that were going on then. But that was when people actually realized they didn't take a look at all of their things. So that's where financial mapping with the bucket method. So on the last day, day 3, I'm going to explain to you what financial mapping with the what the bucket method is, and then funding money bucket 1 and 2, and then funding money bucket 3 and 4. And again, these are all important steps because understanding the mapping of the buckets is and the method is really important, but you may not be ready to even fund bucket 1. It's possible you could have things in bucket 3 and 4 and not even realize it, and then you didn't even know you needed a bucket 1 and 2. So I've seen this a lot. So that's just a little preview of what we're going to do. But today, if you can move over to the slide that shows the top ones, what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so here today, we're going to discuss laying the spending foundations, okay, and a 90-day money plan. Um, what this looks like, I'm going to go over in the deeper dive. We're going to talk a little bit more about what kind of spending plan, how do you track it? That's where the 90-day money plan comes from. But here's the thing. Most people say that they're on a budget, and they probably are to a point. They're like, oh yeah, I know, but and I want you to write yourself some questions here because I want God to be speaking to you too. But do you know exactly every dollar that's coming in and every dollar that's going out? Do you know? And here's why it's important. Most people don't think it's important and don't want to develop the discipline, but this is number 1, laying the spending foundation. Because you can go ahead and pull it down now, and we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of it. Okay. All right. So this is really important. And if you guys want to comment, that is cool. But we're going to go over all the questions and stuff. I'm sure Maverick or Vera are probably going to drop in a link for you guys if you didn't get registered. Because I'm telling you, this is where I wanted to make this the basics so that it was one of the biggest things I've always said is what is the best way to eat an elephant, which would be something really big, which I'm just going to tell you, most people feel like I love numbers. I love it. But most people are like, oh, so it's one bite at a time. So I wanted to go into just what is a how do we lay a foundation and why is it important for a for this, why, like, why is it important to lay a spending foundation? So it's not just about a budget. It's really about understanding all the categories that you have. Okay. And I've had this happen. I would have clients come in all the time. And now I help them, my private coaching clients, and I gather their stuff because I've become really good at reading their statements and things. Okay, so I can see patterns and I can see different things, but it doesn't really matter. But if you don't have if you I said in a couple of my advertisements when I was sharing about this that if you feel like you're a 10, this isn't for you. Honestly, I said that for 2 reasons, because I think the Lord is always growing us is always bringing things that he wants to bring in a higher level for us. Okay. And so in the Bible, it says prophesy a thing as if it's a thing. Okay. So if you don't feel that you're doing amazing in that, then you're prophesying that you're going to continue to work towards that, continue to learn it, continue to track it. I want to take it off of money for a minute and share. I shared it a little bit on Motivational Monday, inside Camp Gambini, but I want to take it off of that for a minute and share with you guys another way that's tangible and why I'm doing this and so passionate about launching this in October, because we're in the fourth quarter of 2023. And I will tell you, I've been doing this a really long time, 27 years. And typically in our industry, if we didn't close the business and hit our goals by October, you weren't going to hit it. And you want to know why? No one wants to talk to you unless it's an emergency, unless there was a death in the family and now they have to move things, or they're moving, they got laid off from a job. Unless it's a crisis, no one wanted to come in for a review. No one wanted to talk about planning for the next year. I typically would work on all my marketing, all my laying out of stuff in November and December. Matter of fact, when I would have my financial practice, I literally baked all these things and would make it and take it to my top clients. And in December, I was just dropping things off because no one wanted to talk to me. It's really common because they just didn't want to prep. They didn't think they had the time. So, and I did have some clients that did do this because they saw the value and they would always come in for a review with me at the last quarter because they knew that then if they sat down with it, then as now I coach people with it, I have noticed that when they pay me for coaching them and getting on 1 hour every single week with me, now they've already paid for it. So they want to get their money's worth. So we are prepping them in October, November, and December so that when January hits, you are already been working on it. You're already confident about it. And so that's why you don't have to be perfect with it, but I would love you guys to say, okay, I'm gonna work on this. So what the spending foundations are is number one, how are you tracking what comes in and what comes out? Do you have categories labeled? Okay, let me give you some examples of some categories. Auto, transportation. So under transportation, you may have some things that are monthly, okay, that come out, like a car insurance. I just heard in our state, supposedly now you're going to have to pay it all upfront annually. So that would be something you need to plan for, right? So that you could pay it. So car insurance, it could be other kinds of transportation. Maybe you use Ubers. So line iteming what you use everything for is really important. So if you have not line item things before, then there's a lot of different places, and I'm going to go over some more details when we go behind the scene. But it is, what do you know, everything that you spend, not just the things that come out, and do you know when they come, like when they come out, and that you have a plan every month that you have money that you are allocating for it. So like property taxes, if you own a home, they come out 2 times a year. So where's the money going to come from? How are you planning with that? Where are you tracking that? That's where your tracking spending plan is super important. But here's what I was going to tell you. This is the trick. Everybody normally will come back and see me in 6 months if they did it on their own, because they're like, oh, I've got to write it all down. I'm like, don't do that. Let's just get a sheet. And however you want to do it, there are some great ones. Banks have them. If you have Excel, Mint is a great one. I'll tell you some more, but the most important thing is that you got to start somewhere. So here's the thing. Don't just estimate it, okay? If you have a spouse or partner, I highly encourage you to try to get the whole family involved. Okay, if you got kids, get them all involved, because you know what? These skills are not taught in school. They are not taught. And this is why we're not learning these things, is because it's not really taught and taught to kids and how to do it. And so what happens is, especially if you grew up in a family that didn't happen, then you just grew up not seeing that. You also probably grew up seeing some real ebbs and flows where you had to go from, you know, Vienna sausages to steak. And so it's important. We're going to talk about that on the mindset part. But so you might have said, oh, well, we never have a cent coming in, so why should I track it? I'm going to tell you, because well, you're going to grow. We're believing you're going to make more money. If you interview anyone who has made it past that barrier and made it into their business growing, that them at a high level and continuing to hit all four of the buckets, which we'll talk about later, it is because they have learned to establish a discipline. Okay, I'll take it to dieting and healthy eating. There are people I know that have always been the same weight, and they don't go back and forth, and they don't have an issue with food being kind of around everything and celebration, and you love with food and all the things. So in October, this was, I think, 2011, me and my husband went on a path to learn to eat better. And it was a whole program. They really taught you about like how you see food, how maybe a lot of it is around social eating, all these different things. Some of it is just that you're not making time and self love for yourself. This is self care. Learning, you know, food prepping, all of the things, making time to go grocery shopping so you're not constantly eating out all the time. Those two things go hand in hand with over in the spending and the other. So one category I always tell people is in entertainment, okay? And that can look like anything from a concert, but it can look like going out to eat. So when you're now pulling up or having DoorDash come in, that I would not consider, that is considered entertainment. You may not consider it entertainment, you're just considering it that you didn't have time to eat. Um, but that is entertainment. Um, it's considered entertainment. So you got to look at your line items with it, because you didn't make the time to cook your food and all of that. So that's what I learned. And here was the thing, why I love to do things in October, because that's when I took that leap. If you're going to change your eating, most people go, I'm going to wait till January. But I was encouraged because I was motivated. I was tired of being tired. I was so exhausted all the time. Even with all these crazy hormonal things that I have walked through, it was nothing like it was then, because I had really bad, I would put other people over myself. I would not put my own oxygen mask on. You know, when you're in the airplane and it says, they tell you to put, if the plane goes down, put your oxygen mask on first, then put it on children and other people that can't. You know why? Because if you run out of oxygen, you can't even put the mask on anybody else. So that's what these things are. So I'm giving an example of food because that was a massive thing that I changed forever. I notice even now the habits that I developed and the discipline and the faithfulness for those times. My husband and I, we would learn, oh, that didn't work. Okay, we need to plan. Okay, we need to eat a little bit before we go anywhere, because if they don't have the food that we can eat, then now we're going to be starving, and now we're going to eat bad, right? Like, you have to learn these things. This is what laying the spending foundations are about. Like, first, just get it on the board is what I say. put all of it out, find something that tracks all the basics, okay? And then you're going to just start to lay it out from there. Now, the 90-day plan is about this. You're going to just get it. I say, get it on the board what you think you spend, okay? Now you're going to track what you actually spend. That's what the 90-day challenge is about. And I'm just going to tell you, you got to bring everybody in that is with you. I don't care if you make a goal that if you guys all, it's a date night for mom and dad. If you bring everybody around because the goal is that you want to go on a family vacation. I'm going to tell you, anything that you want to do, you want to retire earlier, you want to go on a vacation, you want to do these things, it is going to come from planning. And planning in the money management side is tracking and understanding and seeing it. And not just once a month or not just when you get your bank statement. That is honestly how they taught just to do your checkbook and to get your bank statement is really wrong money management. The best thing that you can do is get down what you think you spend, and then once a week, you're going to make a date with if you have a significant other, make a date, and you're going to go over and look at it, because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen is that there's going to be areas you're going to go over, and there's going to be areas that you're over and areas that you're under. And so the most important part, why I call it the 90 days to commit to it, is every time I've helped people, month one they would come in, or sometimes I have them come in at 2 weeks, and lo and behold, there were areas that they put a budget for the whole month and they'd spent it in 7 days. So now we've got to reroute it. And then there were areas that after they tracked it for a whole month, they were really off with that number. They were like 200 under. So then we would take that 200 that they had allocated and allocate it up. I will tell you though, when now you have to allocate it into your entertainment budget because you just don't want to have to cook, or entertainment budget, all of a sudden sometimes you're renegotiating because now you got to take that 200 that you just found and put it into something else that you might be able to reduce. And so that's the other part of it. So the part that really helps you build the discipline is you have to look at it and make decisions. Most of the time people don't want to do that, but I will promise you, if you do that, that is what worked. That is the secret sauce, is committing to tracking for 90 days, committing to look at it 7 days a week. So we are over time now. So I see that Vera has put how to join us for the deep dive. I believe if you don't have the Zoom, send a message to myself or Vera, but we are going to go ahead. And so your homework is, I want you to share the way I described the spending plan and allocating it, and then tracking your budget versus your actual spending. Has anybody done that and had all their categories itemized and consistently done it every single 7 days? Is there something in that area? If you are and you've had success, share it in here. I'd love to hear, because like I told you, those 7 steps, some of them you're going to be doing really, really well. But is there something that's getting in your way? So that's your homework. Make sure you go live, introduce yourself. What do you want to get from this? And with what we shared for the first 2 days, or the first two things for day one, is there something that stood out to you? Is there something that you're like, okay, I really could do this better? And so my whole thing is, if you're doing it, and I always love on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm such a numbers girl. I love that. Or percentages, right? If you're doing it 75%, I could promise you if you move it to 100% and you really nail it, you are going to find money. You are going to be aware of what you're making your choices with, and you will really, a year from now, you will probably you will be shocked with how you shifted and the freedom that you feel. And I will tell you, the number one thing is these two top things will make you feel so free. When you really like crunch down, like for my eating habit, I had to put alarms all over when I was supposed to eat every 2 to 3 hours to refuel, start to look at food as fuel over just deliciousness, or oh my gosh, it's 4 o'clock and I still haven't eaten because I put everybody else before me, all my clients before me, everything before me, and I didn't manage where I could refuel myself, and now I've got a headache, or now I've got different things. And so it's the same, and then I had to track my eating habits and when I would eat and all those different things. It Tracking is something that builds discipline. God gives us discipline. So if you didn't see the scripture, Deuteronomy 8:18, that is really a core principle. So I'm going to go ahead. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you're watching it later, put hashtag replay. I really want to hear about all of this. If you're watching this way later, then this is actually a course that we actually did live, but we're going to be putting it together as a course that will be bundled so that you can be able to take this too. So we will be back to talk about the next two things. And so today's focus is on just building that spending foundations and doing a 90-day money plan. So go ahead and meet us over. We're going to go on a much deeper dive in just a second. So see you soon. Bye.